What is going on out there, peeps? Okay, so there's a lot of great development, to be quite honest with you, with Vietnam, but I want to bring something up. When I'm making my videos, I've been talking about the Iraqi dinar and the Vietnam dong. I'm also speaking about the countries, and I had said on a couple of my videos, there are some long-term opportunities both in Iraq and in Vietnam, and these were long-term opportunities that I was looking at as well. And it's confusing people because they haven't figured out what I'm talking about is not the currencies themselves that's going to be long term. I'm saying once these RVs happen, I'm looking for other ways to invest my money because I don't want to be one of the 86%. So as I learn more and more about both countries, I'm realizing that both countries not only have an opportunity that you could benefit from by investing into their currency, but there are other long-term investments I see available. Vietnam has a ton, but Iraq hasn't even really truly started yet. So you see where I'm going? When I'm looking, I own Iraqi stock. So somehow, some way in a conversation I was reading, people think I'm saying that it's going to take a long time for the currencies to revalue. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. As a matter of fact, the more I look at what's happening to Iraq, the more I'm starting to believe that June is the month. But again, I'm the one that lectures against people pumping others up with hopium. So, and then the one time I had a gentleman tell me that something was supposed to happen to the Vietnam dong. Against my better judgment, I thought it was important to share with you only because I would have felt like crap if something did happen on May the 7th and I didn't share it with everybody who had an opportunity to benefit from that. Okay, that's the thing about this whole currency community. Okay, there is a lot of misinformation mixed in with information. So, when it comes to the currencies themselves, the Iraqi dinar, I think is a very short-term hold before they do something with their currency. As far as Vietnam, I understand that they're manipulating their currency. We all know that that has to change, so that part of it's short. But I also made the suggestion or the opinion or observation that not only would it change to make right what's going on with their currency manipulation, but it also would continue to increase, but only in increments over a span of time. So don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I just think the two countries have some opportunities long term is what I wanted to say. And I'm going to show what I'm talking about when it comes to Vietnam. All right, so here in Vietnam, we talk about this all the time. A lot of my videos, you see me speak about a good indication of where things are going, the direction, the economy. Usually you could take a look at commercial real estate and get some type of indication of what's going on with the country's economy. I told you right now, in the midst of the pandemic, a lot of companies are already searching for warehouses that are already built to store surplus that they have, just to be prepared in the future. So that's one thing. I also told you that a lot of the people who have companies in smaller office spaces have been looking for larger office spaces to move into as their companies grow and expand. And that was a little booming part of what was happening in Vietnam. Well, since the Rona, Vietnam has done exceptionally well. But still, as they come out of quarantine, there are other areas, or same areas, or other areas that show you that this country, both short-term and long-term, is an ideal place to go ahead and invest in my opinion. Okay, so over here it's talking about the property firms are gearing up to tap opportunity from the post-pandemic recovery of the real estate market, which was predicted to soon get back on its feet. Of course, as people around the world start coming out of quarantine and we start getting back to work, opportunities are going to be showing up everywhere. I really believe that. I heard somebody make this comment that while a lot of the weak businesses are now out of the way, given more of an opportunity for stronger business, I don't agree with that. And what I mean by that is, or maybe I misinterpreted, I shouldn't assume, but that's almost sounding like, let's get rid of small businesses. I think for us here in America, this country was built off of those mom and pop stores, and we would only benefit from it in the long run, because the last thing we want to do is see bigger companies like Walmart continue to expand. Although they offer a lot of job opportunities, I really do think they're bad for business, as they really, really put a lot of people, mom and pop stores, out of business. So that's just my opinion. So over here, talks about since there's been somewhat of a freeze on the real estate market, as we come out of quarantine, they will continue to grow. So the number of new real estate firms founded in the quarter also dropped by 12%, while those who temporarily halted operations increased by 94%. So you could see things were still steamrolling regardless. Transactions also slumped in a quarter, equivalent to 40% of the same period since this time of 2019. Only 14% of the property products available in the market in their quarter were sold, the lowest level in the past 4 years. So you have to take things and put them into hindsight. There was a reason for this. Anyways, as you go on, it goes down here to talk about, now they're going to be allowing outside investors to come into Vietnam, which is unusual, to start looking into investing into real estate. Okay, so however, the real estate market in Vietnam still had a number of advantages and was attractive to investors. Given a population of nearly 100 million people, 55% ages between 25 and 40 years old, who had high housing demands and strong purchasing power, together with the country's stable economic growth, improved transport infrastructure, and rapid urbanization. Okay, so again, this is only going to get back. This hit a slow bump. It's going to get back to where it should. Okay, so the government is hasting administrative reforms to speed up disbursement of public investments were expected to create impetus for economic growth, which would benefit the real estate market. So, again, once everybody starts getting back to work and they get a little caught up on what bills they have, then, I agree with Trump. The third quarter, we will start to see a rebound, but we'll have a very strong fourth quarter, and next year is going to be a sight to see. I really believe that. Okay. So also Vietnam has something very interesting, and I think this is a great idea if you ask me. I think a lot of countries should think about this. But the HCM City Department of Industry and Trade announced it would hold the 2020 consumption stimulus event from July the 2nd through the 5th this year as a measure to support local producers amid the coronavirus pandemic. According to the department, the event is expected to boost economic recovery and normalize commercial activities in the city that has been affected by the Rona. Okay, so I think that's a great idea. Actually, I think all communities, in my opinion, should do this. So, farmers market, flea markets, also include businesses, just not your local people. Get out there and start reintroducing things to people. Do huge job markets, start rehiring people, because a lot of people are too busy over here in America enjoying their unemployment because it's paying them more money than when they were employed. So until that stops, we're not going to see any huge rush of people going back to work. But I love this idea, and I thought I would share that with you because I think it's something that should be done everywhere. Now, this is the biggie I want to talk about. Remember, I told you that, Vietnam is definitely the place to think about investing long term. Okay. The U.S.-led trade network could strengthen Vietnam's place in the global supply chain. Didn't I tell you there was a lot of countries that were pissed off about the Rona? They thought China could have done more. As a matter of fact, now I think it's 111 countries are now seeking war reparations from China. Okay? Not all of them, because there's a lot of them that partner up with China, and even though they know China is guilty, they're not going to take sides against China. So look at this. Vietnam can entrench itself in the global supply chain if the United States forms a network of partners to reduce reliance on China, analysis said. It's going to happen. There's no ifs, ands, or but about it. So Vietnam was recently invited to join the Quad countries, which is Australia, India, and Japan, and the U.S. Let me repeat this because this is big. So these are the 4 companies called the Quad countries that are now looking at taking business away from China and going elsewhere. And they're big. Australia is big. India is big. Japan is big. And the U.S. is big. So there's an unofficial teleconference that's going to be happening post-pandemic. Analysts said that in addition to Vietnam, South Korea and New Zealand were added to the group, which was now dubbed Quad Plus. Suggests the group is seeking to reduce the dependence on China and the global chain. Well, there will be a mass reduction, and they should. What you want to do is hurt China bad now. They had a thing called China 2025, where they had planned to take over the world economically, financially, and militarily. There has been a huge thorn in those plans, and is the man we call the Cheeto Bambito, bad orange man. But you know, we love Trump over here. Well, most of us do anyways. So look, this isn't going to happen if Trump isn't reelected. If he's reelected, he could go back to the globalists coming in, sending all of our companies back overseas, especially to China. That was the agreement that they have. This is why people like Joe Biden were given $1.5 billion from China. We're given $500 million from the Ukraine. And his brother was given $1.5 billion from Iraq. That kind of corruption will restart back up, and it does not benefit the American people, but benefits those in power. So just give that some thought. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said last month his government is working with these 6 countries to move the global economy forward, but restructuring the supply chains. American officials are reportedly looking for ways to push companies to move sourcing and manufacturing out of China using tax incentives and subsidies. It's going to happen. There's already a huge amount of companies left China already and went into our favorite places. Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Philippines. They're going to continue to move in that direction, okay? American officials I already said that. So the economist over there in Vietnam said, as one of the fastest growing economies in the Southeast Asia, with exports running to the tens of billions of dollars annually, Vietnam has many good reasons to be selected to this grouping. Do you see what I'm saying about Vietnam? So not just the currency. I was trying to say there's 2 things to think of. Once you're RVing and you have enough money, you should think about investing into these countries long term. Whether you actually go in there and do direct investing, which is like buying properties and things like that, or on my Stock Watch videos, I point out the 3 or 4 mutual funds that cover these countries. All right, something to consider. That's what I'm talking about long term. Okay, Vietnam has 64% of the population in its working age, and labor costs lower than that of China. I told everybody in my other videos that Vietnam is China's China. They have a habit of outsourcing a lot of the stuff that they send to us here in the United States. Vietnam does it cheaper. They send it into China. China swaps off the labels, puts made in China, and then sends it over to us. So Vietnam is China's China. Okay, so they have 64% of its population is now in working age. That's unbelievable. That's great. The labor cost is lower than China's, he said, that's because they manipulate their currency right along with China. Adding that the country's long coastline and shares the border with China are other factors that would help with the switch. In other words, just throw everything on a boat, just cruise down the coast, come drop off and rebuild over here in Vietnam. It has already been identified as their investment destination by many multinationals. Apple, Google, Microsoft are all reportedly making plans to begin an expansion in production in Vietnam this year. I told you guys, look, they can't continue manipulating their currency. They can get away with it right now because of the coronavirus, but long term also. So once you get your money from your reevaluating of their currency, think long term, think ETFs, or think direct investing. Vietnam is going to be huge. So anyways, this article is really long. It goes on to explain why these partners should all partner up and then start pulling out of there. Indonesia has reportedly persuaded 27 U.S. companies to relocate to an industrial zone in Java. Okay? So there is a lot of, look at this, is all the areas. Indonesia, these are the other currencies you should consider. India reached out to more than 1,000 companies in the U.S. last month through its foreign missions, offering incentives to manufacturing, seeking a shift from China, while Malaysia and Thailand have also been offering incentives to multinationals. Everybody wants to bail out of China. We can't afford for them to just try to be greedy Gretchen and hold us hostages. Right now, they produce 98% of our pharmaceutical needs. This is dangerous. During the pandemic, they were so mad at the U.S. that they threatened not to ship our people their medicine. How the hell our country got that vulnerable to another country? I mean, I know how, but not without it sounding political, okay? A lot of bad trades were made under Democratic administrations, man. This is just crazy. So thank God we're bringing back a lot of the manufacturing here, but also they're going to be expanding out to those countries that I've mentioned several times. So those are other currencies you should consider, okay? Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, especially the Thai baht, Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, okay? Those countries will all, once we come out of quarantine, they're going to continue to grow as more and more countries are pulling business away from China. They are expanding. This is why you're seeing China be so hostile over there in the South China Sea and bullying countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, and Vietnam, as well as Hong Kong. How much longer that's going to be tolerated is yet to be seen, as other countries are noticing this and will get involved. So it's like I said, you guys, look at, it's not just a currency that I'm talking about investing. I'm also talking about long term. That's the other part of this, all right? All right, a quick reminder, you guys, look, I got a Facebook group with the same name as my YouTube channel, Pimpy's Investment Chat. I will leave a link in the description and encourage you guys to come join us. In here we talk about everything from the Vietnam Dong, the Iraqi dinar, cryptocurrencies, gold and silver. We talk about it in here, and it's free to join. Also, I do have another group called The Hidden Things in Front of Your Face. We talk about all kinds of things in here. If you're into conspiracy types things, Nasera, Jessera. Also in here, we speak about some things that are politically driven, leans a little bit to the right, but everybody has tough skins and are respectful. So 9/11, false flags, school shootings, chemtrails, the whole 9 yards. We talk about it in this group. And again, it's free to join. Just follow the link in the description. All right. Hope to see you guys come and join us real soon. Bye.